Namaskar, namaskar. Welcome back to live with me, Aditya Soma, here on YouTube and Facebook. So, if you're joining for the first time, my name is Aditya Soma. I'm a active investor and also a real estate agent, and I have a team of agents who we work in Windsor, Ontario, Windsor, Essex, where we help investors, homeowners, sellers with their real estate goals. So, on this live, I talk about different topics, especially financial freedom and how to achieve financial freedom through real estate. So that's if those are the topics that you're interested in, please don't forget to tune in and ask as many questions as possible, because I strongly believe real estate is one of the vehicles that helps any family to achieve financial freedom and achieve generational wealth. And personally, real estate changed my family life and my personal life financially. So that's why I believe strongly. And also, there were so many statistics that shows over 80% of millionaires around the globe are through real estate. So that's my passion subject here where I talk a lot. So if that those are the topics are you're interested in, please join the lives and make sure to subscribe to the channel, because I post a lot of videos talking about different things, my personal journey as an investor, my personal portfolio. I walk through some properties, give an idea and all those things. So um, if you're joining for the first time, let me know in the comments what's your name, where you're joining the live from, so that I know who you are. Please introduce yourself there. Um, hello, everyone again. Again, today I would like to especially focus on this new budget that Canada has released recently for 2022, where they have some, a lot of attack on real estate and a lot of things going on. I know many people have a fear or, uh, eager to know what's going to happen in real estate market because of these changes. Because there are a lot of changes, like interest rates started to go up, and in the budget they're talking about ban on foreign buyers for 2 years, and they're gonna work on increasing the amount of new constructions, and they have allotted a budget for that. So let's in this live, let's talk about all those details in more in deep. And also, if you have any questions related to real estate investing, real estate sales, anything that can, that's stopping you to achieve financial freedom, please let me know in the comments, because this is the opportunity I wish I had when I started. Someone is answering my questions, because when you get your questions answered, even that one question that's back of your mind that has been stopping you would help you to move forward. So please don't hesitate to ask questions in the chat. So while I'm talking about this new budget plan, I'll be answering the questions as well. So leave your questions in the chat. And if you're joining this live for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. So thank you for joining. So let me quickly share my screen here, just to go over a few highlights about the 2022 budget, Canadian budget, um, and then I'll throw my comments on it. And also, I would like to hear your comments on them, because by no means I'm not an expert, or I'm not a guru. That you see claims that you do this. This is a perfect idea. Nope. I'm also learning along the way with you guys. So this chat is more like for us to learn from each other, grow together. So without ado, let me share my screen here. Okay, so let me know if you can see my screen here. So this is the one of the biggest thing that on the budget that I can see is they are trying to make housing affordable for people who are within Canada, because one of the biggest challenge from last few years, because of the prices going up crazily 20-25% every year, making it impossible for regular working class families whose dream is to own a home. Because I know when I'm growing up, buying a home and buying a car is the biggest dream for anyone. So I understand, and that's what Canadian government is trying to focus on. So one of some of the few important things that I noticed in this budget that could make an impact on the market. So to start with, if you're a first-time home buyer, and if you haven't bought a property, a great news for you is they are coming up with this new program called tax-free first-time home saving account. So what it means is actually it is almost like a RRSP. Um, so RSP, you put the money in, and for that year, how much ever the amount you put in, you can write off the taxes. So if you're making 100,000 and if you have a contribution of $10,000, so if you contribute to that RSP account, that $10,000 will become like pretty much your year income for that year becomes 90,000. So instead of paying taxes for 100,000, you pay taxes for 90,000. So with this RSP, they are allowing the first-time home buyers, especially this one applies for first-time home buyers only. You can save up to 40,000. So if you have a 40,000 sitting around, or if you're trying to save up for a down payment, now you put that 40,000 into TFSA, the first-time home saving account. You can write off that 40,000. So you're not write off, sorry, my bad. It becomes a tax deductible. So if you're making 100,000, you put 40,000 towards this account. So your taxable income becomes that year 60,000. So minus that 40,000. So you saved on the taxes. So now you can, it will allow you to save more money. So this is a good news for first-time home buyers. And then, the next thing that I have seen here to highlight on is auxiliary fund for new housing. So one of the biggest reason why we have seen in last few years, there is a crazy jump in the prices because the supply was low, all-time low for last few years. And the demand, the number of buyers on the market is pretty high. So the government now allotting some budget to increase the amount of new construction. So that's what, if you read here, with the target of creating 100,000 new housing units for over next 5 years. So definitely adding 100,000 new units into the market will definitely help with the supply issue. So again, it's a great news in my opinion, because this could stabilize the market. A lot of people who've been waiting for years, probably this could be your chance to get into the market. And again, if you're interested to learn more on yourself, I'll put this link in the comments so that you can go over by yourself. So here I'll just give a few highlights, and I would love to hear your comments. What do you think how this new budget can impact on the real estate market? Let me know in the comments, because like I said, I would love to hear the feedback. I don't want to just assume what my opinions are correct. I would love to hear. And then mm, the another highlighted point here, a ban on foreign investments in Canadian housing. So they're planning to ban the pretty much foreign buyers for next 2 years. So if you have joined me live last week, I was talking about this last week or before last week, where they increased the foreign buyer tax in Ontario. Before it was only in Horseshoe area, which is like around GTA. There was 15% tax, and now they increased to 20%, and they applied over Ontario. And with this new budget, they're saying throughout Canada wide, they're going to ban the whole foreign investors. So they're not even allowing the foreign investors. And of course, there are a few exceptions. If you go through, I read through this, like the exceptions, or if you're a student or working, on a work permit, you are exempted, or if you have a permanent residency, so that means you're not a foreign investor, so you can still buy a home. And another major one I have noticed here is, making property flippers pay their fair share. So basically, if you own a house and you did some cosmetic updates, if you want to sell within the first year, you could have taken some tax advantages. So now they're trying to target the flippers, technically who are buying the property, doing some improvements and selling within the first year. They now have to has a regular income taxes. So that would definitely impact a bit on the market as well, because there are a lot of flippers out there who are just continuously buying and doing some improvements and selling back on the market. So again, this is my understanding from the government point of view. They're trying to reduce the demand because, with the supply being low, being a lot of buyers, so they're trying their best to reduce the number of buyers. So if you see the first one, foreign buyers, so they're reducing, and they want to make the housing affordable for the people who are within the Canada, which is a reasonable thing, because you have to make sure your citizens make their dreams come true. So this is another major impact I'm looking at here. And also, they want to support more rent to own projects. If you don't know what rent to own means, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I'll talk another video in detail. But in short, rent to own is like you can rent a place and then you have a flexibility to buy that place after 2 years or 3 years with a certain fixed agreement with the person whom you're renting it from. And again, there are some other some other important elements within the budget, but these are the few highlights that I think would make an impact on the market. And on top of it, with the interest rates going up, just yesterday 50 basis points has been increased. So what do you guys think? How much impact do you think would this happen? So let me know in the comments, and let me jump on a few questions here. I see already questions start to pop up. Let me take the first question here. Gautam, can I buy a second property, apartment immediately after buying a first property, single family home? What are the struggles? Will it be positive cash flow? So Gautam, first of all, thank you for leaving the comment. So great question. So what are the complications? Let's talk about it. So first of all, when you're buying a second home, technically it means it's an investment property. And if you're specifically mentioning apartment, which means multiple units, 2, 3, 4 units, or 5, 6 units, whatever. So now the number one thing you have to make sure is you have at least 20% down, because when you're buying an investment property, you need 20% down in order to buy an investment property in Ontario. So number one is that, do you have the money? And number two is, from your questions, what are the struggles? So because now you're going from primary residency owner to an investor. So when you're buying an investment property, do your due diligence. So first of all, pick a location. What is the location that you want to buy into? Which location is growing where you would like to put your money into it? And find some good contacts in that location. Like the good real estate agents. That's one of the first step, because especially an agent who is investor focused. So if you're looking in Windsor, Essex, of course, me and my team, we are investor focused realtors here. So the reason I mentioned that's very crucial, especially when you're doing for the first time, right? There are a lot of things you need to be aware when you're buying an investment property. You need to know what to look for, how to analyze the deal, how to make an offer, what to look for, and have all the contacts for future purpose, like property management, who is going to do the property management, repairs and maintenance, who is going to maintain that, how can you maintain it? You need all those connections. So starting with someone who is already investing and also a realtor can help you with that process. So they handhold you throughout the process to make sure you have you can succeed with your investment. So that's another step I would suggest. And on top of it, because now you just bought the first property, you're going into an investment property, check with your mortgage agent, see what's your qualification is. So make sure, again, don't just blindly believe on one mortgage agent. If one agent says no, go talk to another agent, because again, every agent is made differently. But definitely, again, I have done that same thing personally. I bought my first house, and then immediately within 6 months, I bought a second home as an investment, a duplex. So that's definitely possible, and it's not that hard. You just need to make sure you're doing your due diligence correct, and you're doing what with you're taking all the steps right? So that you don't, let your investment die or get into troubles. So on top of it, will it be a positive cash flow? So like I mentioned earlier, if you're picking the right location, if you're picking the location where you can find a property that can cash flow, yes, of course. So it depends on what property you pick and depends on what strategy you're looking at. So there are positive cash flow properties out there, especially if you're looking at Windsor Essex. We do definitely have a lot of properties on the market or off the market. They are positive cash flow properties. So yep, you can possibly find a cash flow property. You just need to know how to find them. So moving on to the next question. Josh, hey Josh, how are you? Hey Aditya, need your advice whether to go for Windsor or London, Ontario to purchase primary residence, have work from home option, looking for price appreciation, and rent out the basement. So again, that brings down to what are you looking for you and your family, right? Like are you a single? Do you have a family? Do you have kids? What school district do you want to send your kids to? And what price range can you afford? Because there is a difference between London and Windsor, especially when it comes to the price point. At least there is a difference of 150,000 ish on average prices. So Windsor is on the lower side comparative to London. But that being said, again, both have their own advantages, both have their own disadvantages. Just a few things. I cannot talk too much on the London. I don't know too much statistics, but for Windsor, I can talk about it because personally, I invest in Windsor. I live in Windsor. I see a lot of things happening in Windsor because I don't know if you have seen recent news. There is a new battery plant has been approved, and they're going to break the ground soon. They're going to be up and running in 2024. Which brings at least 2,500 new employees into Windsor. So which means population growth, job growth, and along with that, mega hospital is already in the process, stage 2. So they will be breaking the ground soon. That means more construction, and that brings more population, more employees to Windsor. And also there is an existing big project going on, the bridge construction between US and Detroit and Windsor. So that's already in progress. So that we are expecting to bring more people into Windsor. And along with that, the weather in Windsor is beautiful. And there is still potential for those basement suites where you can offset most of your expenses from that unit, which is my personal favorite strategy here. So personally, I'm a huge fan of Windsor comparative to London. But again, do your due diligence. Talk to a few professionals in London, and if you want to talk more about Windsor here, me and my team, we are here to help you. If you want to jump on a one-on-one call, either with me or my team, I'll leave the email and phone number in the comments. We can hop on a one-on-one call to just discuss more about your personal situation, and then you make a decision based on what makes sense to you. So moving on to the next question here. Again, guys, if you're joining for the first time, please don't hesitate to ask. I really strongly believe any questions that you have in your mind, if you don't ask, they don't get answered. If you don't get answered, you will stay where you are. So better ask because there is no right or wrong question. It's no question is a dumb question. Personally, when I was brand new agent, when I was brand new investor, when I started like in 2016, started to look for properties, I literally my first mentor, guru, friend, everything was my realtor, who helped me to buy my first property, second property, third property, and fourth property until I became a realtor. And she was like the best person I could have ever met. So she helped me, handholded me, and I used to ask like huge amount of questions. And thanks to her, Cassidy, if you're watching this, thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough. But again, I used to ask ton of questions because when I was new, I didn't know so many things. And of course, even now I still ask questions for things that I don't know, for the professionals who would know that. So that's why I strongly encourage ask those questions. So coming to the question here, Michelle. Hey Michelle, how are you? Hope you're doing fantastic. What is the minimum down payment for an investment property? Is a condo property easier to maintain or a detached home whose basements and main floor can be rented? So there are two different questions there. I'll try to break it down. So first of all, any investment you're buying, especially if it's a residential investment property. So residentials means condo or a single family townhome, detached or semi-detached, or duplex, triplex, fourplex, up to fourplex. And there are some lenders might consider 5 or 6 units building as well as as a residential. There are only few lenders. So that being said, any residential investment property, you have to put minimum 20% down. So you need 20% down to answer your first question there. And now to answer your second question, is condo investment a better opportunity when it comes to maintenance or detached property? So from a maintenance point of view, you have a better chance for less maintenance on condo, because the condominium corporations generally cover majority of things like roof. Some of them even cover like lawn maintenance, exterior maintenance. Some of them even cover like windows, mechanical. So there are a lot of things that you don't have to worry about. Whereas detached home, you have to make sure your roof is in a good condition on a regular basis. You have to make sure your exterior, your snow has been cleaned up on time, because if you don't clean up your snow, if someone falls down, that's in your snow, and there's a liability there. Of course, you can offset all those things by having right experts who take care of those things. But that being still condos are low maintenance comparative to detached homes. That's my opinion. But if you ask me like which is the better one as an investment, so in terms of returns, you have higher returns for detached comparative to condos, because for condo, you're not owning a piece of land. You are owning a piece of land, but like bunch of people together owning that piece of land. Whereas detached, you have your own, like if it's generally detached or freehold, so that means you own the property along with the land. So generally over the time, the land value goes up, the building value goes down. So that's a huge advantage over the period, that the detached homes are more will make you higher returns. But again, that being said, to answer your question in short, maintenance definitely lesser on the condos. That's my opinion. Again, anyone have a different opinion, please let me know in the comments. So again, I would love to hear yours opinion as well. So moving on to the next question here. Tell me something about investing in pre-construction homes through builders and how all that works. So great question. Personally, I do invest in pre-constructions as well, and I do love them for some reasons. Again, the pre-constructions have pros and cons, and here is some of the pros and some of the cons. So to start with, some of the positives of investing in pre-construction. Let's say if you don't have all the 20% down right now, you have like 5,000 or 10,000 or 20,000, you can book a unit with any condos or pre-construction condos or pre-construction detached, semi-detached. So you don't have to have all the down payment upfront, and you don't have to qualify for the mortgage upfront. So you're buying time to save for that investment. So that's one of the biggest advantage. So that's why 2.5 years ago, when I was just started as a self-employed person, as a realtor, I didn't qualify for a mortgage. So I didn't want to wait until then. So I said, I'm going to book a pre-construction, whichever came my way, which was like, having a closing where by the time I would qualify for mortgage. So that's another positive thing, because, there are a lot of people who would not qualify immediately, but surely they will be qualifying after 1 year or 6 months or 2 years. Then, if the units are ready by then, now you can get the mortgage at that point. And when you're booking the condo or whichever the pre-construction, you can borrow the money from your line of credits, unsecured line of credits, or from your friends, whatever. But by the time when you're going for a mortgage, then you have to show the remaining down payment in your account. So that's another advantage. And on top of it, so you block this unit where now you don't have to worry about any tenants, any mortgage, until you close the property. So that's another advantage. You're leveraging. So instead of waiting for that 2 years and buying after 2 years, or after 1 year, after 4 years, some condos even offer 4 or 5 years down the road. So now instead of waiting to save money and buying at that time, you're buying it now. So whatever the appreciation happens all this time, you're leveraging against that contract. So just with the down payment that you put in, generally it's in the first 3-4 months you pay like up to 10% down payment. So for example, a pre-construction that I booked in Paris 2.5 years ago, that was like, at that time it was 650,000. I paid 10% in the first 4 months, I believe, 65,000. So just that 65,000 into the deal, and I don't have a mortgage, I don't have a tenant, I still haven't closed that property, but the property is now appreciated over 1.2 million. So whatever the returns I made, so it's like almost 600,000 returns. Um, the return I made, that 600,000, is with $65,000. So if I would have just didn't do that, if I was just waiting for qualification, just waiting to get my money in line, then I would not have taken this appreciation. So that's another huge advantage. You're leveraging. So those are the positives. Then let's talk about some of the negatives, right? So one of the negative that you could consider is like, you don't know if this builder, if it's going to finish the project or not. So if you paid this down payment, and after 2 years, 3 years down the road, if they don't finish the project and they keep on extending, and they never finish, so now literally you could have bought a resale home and you could have sold it, you would have made money, but now you just end up waiting. So that's one of the reasons why you have to do a lot of due diligence on the builder from whom you're buying it from. So that's a big con. And another one is, you have tied up your money until the construction over, until you take the position. You cannot sell it. Whereas resale, you can buy it, you sit on it, you live in it for 1 year, and you can sell it. If it's a primary home, you can even, no capital gains, nothing, you can sell. So you can recirculate your money quicker comparative to pre-construction. You just have to sit and wait, hold tight, just let the project complete, take a position. And then of course there are resale assignment options for that con, where you can mitigate it. But even when you resell, still most likely, most of the cases where you don't get your funds until the closing is done, so you're holding up the money for quite a long time. So the recycle is not happening. So that's another con. And of course, on top of it, pre-construction being, very, you're putting less money and you're not taking too much mortgage. A lot of people I have seen, like, they go over their budget, like they go buy pre-construction like $1 million or 1.5 million. So it's easy because they don't look at the bigger picture. You have to get that mortgage at the end. They just assume that, oh, I can just assign it in 2 years. What if you cannot assign, and what if you have to close the property end of that? Can you qualify for that mortgage? Can you come up with the rest of the money? So make sure you're not over leveraging yourself. So that's another thing I would look into. So hope that helpful. And again, any other pros or cons I have missed, please let me know. Anyone listening, if you are a pre-con investor, let me know in the comments if I missed something. I would like to hear. Moving on to the next question. Think Rich, I love the name, bro. Sorry, bro or sister, whichever. I want to talk to you about refinancing to buy a rental property in Windsor. Yes, definitely. We are more than happy to help you. I will put the contact number and email address in the comments. Make sure reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to jump on a call, discuss one-on-one. Either me or my agent will jump on a call with you, discuss about your situation, see how you can do that. So that's a great idea, especially if you're sitting on a property. If you have a primary home, you have built up equity, why to let it sit there? That's another, that actually brings up to another point that many people would have surprised. Like, some of our clients, they didn't know that they can invest even though they had like $500,000, even some of them sitting on $1 million equity in their primary home. So if you have a solid equity in your primary home, go refinance and don't take the mortgage and don't go buy a Ferrari or like some liabilities. Just take a home equity line of credit, because there are a lot of lenders, lenders especially, will give you a line of credit, secure line of credit against your primary home. So which means it's like you're borrowing the money, but you don't have to pay any interest until you use this line of credit. Whereas you know that you have access to this X amount, whatever your equity is. So let's take an example. For example, your property value currently is $1 million, and you have a mortgage of 200,000. So generally, any bank will lend you up to 80% loan to value. So 80% loan to value of $1 million, if you qualify for, they'll lend you up to 800,000. So 800,000 is the new mortgage you can qualify up to, minus your existing mortgage, which is 200,000. So that means you have access to 600,000 of your money from your asset. So instead of taking that 600,000 as a mortgage, if you take it as a mortgage, now you have to start paying the interest. If that's not your intention, because if you don't know when you're going to invest in, then just ask the bank to put this 600,000 on line of credit. So now you have the access to that 600,000. Now whenever and right opportunity presents, then use this 600,000. And just a caution, don't use it for liabilities. That's one thing. Even personally, my home currently just appraised. I just refinanced my home. I had a mortgage of 220,000, and my home appreciated for 800,000. So now I just refinanced with RBC. They approved me for a line of credit over 400,000. So now I have access to that funds, and I'm working on another project, so I'm going to use these funds there. So now I can write off these funds as well, the interest rate on these funds, because I'm using this money towards another investment. So there are a lot of advantages by refinancing. So again, talk to a professional, talk to a mortgage person who can help you with that, understand it more clearly. Moving on to the next question here. So Gautam, thank you so much for answering the question. Glad to hear. One more from my side. Fantastic. I love to hear more questions, so don't hesitate to ask. What is your price prediction for Edmonton and Calgary in coming years? Will it be like Ontario, or it's going to be stabilized? So Gautam, that's something I'm still not sure. Personally, I don't think it will be as crazy as Ontario, because the reason, again, it's my opinion only. Always talk to more experts. Personally, I don't think so as much as Ontario, because majority of the immigrants are coming to Ontario because of the weather, and because of the job opportunities. So almost 70 to 80% of the immigrants are moving into Ontario and moving into some major cities within Ontario, like Toronto, Kitchener, London, Windsor, some of the major cities that are growing. So where these are the areas have more demand. So when more people coming in, obviously that demand will keep continuing. So that being said, comparative to a lot of the cities in Ontario right now, the Calgary prices are still low. Maybe they could increase a little bit. I don't know if it's going to go as much as Ontario. Maybe if the population growth in Calgary continue to increase, if the economy in Calgary continues to increase, there are some positive signs that we can see there, show that the Calgary and Edmonton, they have some job opportunities are slowly increasing, and also the population is increasing. So there might be a potential, but personally, I'm not I'm not going too crazy about outside of Ontario. I would love to leverage maybe one or two here and there, just to leverage purpose, because I personally, I don't like to put all eggs in one basket. Even though I'm heavily invested in Windsor, so I try to leverage. I have one pre-construction in Paris, one pre-construction in Burlington, and one I'm looking at Calgary. So those are just for my leverage purpose. Even I have one, I just bought an investment in India just for the leverage purpose. But again, like I said, don't just buy because you are predicting, or someone said like you, that's going to be crazy, just because Ontario prices has gone shoot up already. So do more due diligence. Will it be like Ontario? Yeah, I think that's my answer. Hope it's helpful. And again, guys, I see a lot of new people on the channel. Please do me a small favor. If you're joining for the first time, don't hesitate to hit that thumbs up button and a subscribe and a bell notification, because that would help me to, encourage me to make more content that would help you. So it's just boosting for me to see the numbers, right? So please do me that favor. hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. And also, guys, don't forget, me and my team, we are here in Windsor, Essex. We help a lot of investors, homeowners, to sell their property or buy investment property, or first-time home buyers. So reach out to us. Don't hesitate. We can jump on a one-on-one call to help you with your investment goals. So moving on to the next question here. Vermika, hi, I just bought my primary home in Windsor, closing in June. Just wondering whether new tax saving account rule would be applicable for me or not. So if you already bought a home, I believe it doesn't apply for you because it's only for first-time home buyers. So you are already not a first-time home buyer anymore because you already bought a property. Unless maybe check with the mortgage agent if you haven't, because you said you're closing in June, and if this tax-free saving account come into play already. I know RRSP is already there. If you have put money into RRSP and use the RRSP as a down payment, that's already there. So check with the professionals if this new tax-free savings account already came into play, because they put it in the budget plan. They're going to implement it. Uh, I'm not 100% sure it already came into play. So check with the mortgage person and the lawyer whom you're working with, see if it's still doable, because you still haven't closed it. So check with them, and let us know, because even I'm curious, because that's a very good question. Very good question. You might be, but I don't want to give 100% answer because it's a unique situation. Just check with the mortgage person and the lawyer you're working with. Moving on to the next question here. Sahel, but I heard in condo we have to take a lot of approvals. What do you mean, Sahil? Elaborate a little bit more. What do you mean by you have to take a lot of approvals? If my understanding, let me assume here a little bit. So you mean like approvals on which tenants to use, which, how can you use the condo unit for? Yes, there are restrictions. So because condo, again, that's what I was referring to, right? You when you're buying a condo, you're not a freehold. You are with a corporation, and the corporation have their own rules and regulations. Some corporations don't even allow you to do Airbnb. So you have to look into what's your strategy for buying that condo, and what are you planning to do. Does the condominium corporation allows that in order for you to achieve your goals? So yeah, that's definitely, you have to look into it more details. Moving on to the next question. George, I would like to invest in multifamily. Can you speak on what are you doing currently? Thank you, George. So if you guys haven't seen my latest video, um, I'll make sure, my assistant put a link in the chat. Just the recent video I just uploaded, I think 2 days ago. I'm doing a multifamily burr, where I'm going to use one unit, a commercial unit, for my office purpose. So for the first time, I'm going to have a physical office. All these years, I don't have a physical office for Win City. So I'm going to do a burst strategy on this multifamily, which is a 6-unit building, which was a 4-unit. And now I got the minor variance to do another 2 residential units. So now I'm going to have 5 residential units and 1 commercial unit. The commercial unit is going to be my office, and the 5 residential units will be paying my building expenses. So I'm naming a new term here, office hack, which I haven't heard in the past. So office hack, I'm trying to hack my office space so I don't have to pay rent for my office. Rather, my tenants pay for my rent. So, and also, I have an asset there. So that's the project I'm working on heavily. And also 3 other projects with my partner Savio. We are doing a single we are doing 2 projects currently and 1 more coming next month, where we bought a lot and we bought 2 properties. Those are single families, and we are adding 1 attached ADU and 1 detached ADU. So we are turning a single family into 3 legal units, so we can increase our cash flow. Again, same thing on the lot. We bought a residential lot, and we are building a new single family home with attached ADU and a detached ADU. So it means like 2 houses on 1 lot, and 1 house has 2 units and the other house has 1 unit. So that's a strategy that we are applying for 3 projects. So those are the 4 major projects that I'm working on currently. And feel free to ask me more questions about the projects. I'm happy to answer. I know many people asked me about the project I shared, the video I shared, the numbers on that project. So soon I'm going to make a detailed video on numbers of the project, because right now I don't have a clear picture on how much cost going to be for me to renovate the property, and how much the value of the property, after repair value. I don't have a clear picture. That's why I haven't shared all the details, but soon I will be. So stay tuned for that. So that's why you have to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you don't miss those. Yeah, moving on to the next question here. Quinnick, is it worth refinancing now with the rate changes, or better wait? Personally, I would say refinance now, because if the rate keep on increasing, your qualification is going down. So that's one of the big impact that's going to happen with the interest rates going up. Sorry, one second. Let me crack my back here. Lot of tension in the body when I'm if I keep on sitting on the desks here. So one of the challenge, right? Like, one of the challenge that we're going to see, a lot of people, their qualification is going down, because the the how the qualification, in order for you to, so for example, let me take an example here. Let me take a step back. If you, or if you would have been qualified for 500,000 before, with the before interest rate, because they always look at what's the current fixed rate, and plus they add like some basis points on top of it, and then they'll qualify you. So if the interest rate goes up another, let's say 1%, now your qualification gone down by few thousand, like 20, 30, 40, or maybe 50,000. So now you're having less access, to the less money you have. You sorry, mumbling on the words here. You have access to less money if you're waiting. Whereas if you're like, if you have refinancing right now, especially if you're going for a line of credit, you better do it now, because you have access to more money, and which will help you to leverage on a right investment property. Again, I'll be very specific, because if you don't have control on your money, maybe don't refinance. If you know that you will be spending on liabilities, don't do it. But if you know that you're looking for a right opportunity, or if you know that there's some like solid dividend paying stocks, or some stocks that gone drastically down recently, again, I'm not an expert, but I just bought two stocks that I believe in, like Facebook and Shopify. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, guys. Please don't take my advice as a professional advice. This is just a random guy on YouTube talking his opinions. So again, if you're looking to invest into those kind of things, whose price like dropped by half or even less than that, if you're going to invest in the right investments, if you have a confidence in your investment, better refinance now, because you have access to extra money. Hope that helpful. Moving on to the next question. Man, I love this. I love this. Keep those questions coming in, because the more questions we have, the more questions you ask, the more closer you get to your financial freedom, goals. So please keep coming, keep throwing the questions at me. I'll do my best to answer from my knowledge. And also, maybe if I cannot answer, someone in the chat will answer your questions. So Kids Workshop, I love that name. Can real estate person be buying and selling agent of her or his own property to save commission? Of course, why not? Who said you cannot be your own agent? There is no requirement, there is no regulation around it saying you cannot do it. You can do it, you can save your commission. Only thing is, you just need to disclose that this property owned by you, or even if it's your own like siblings, your family, you have to disclose that agent is related to the buyer, or the agent is related to the buyer or the seller. You just need to disclose that it's your property. Other than that, yeah, of course, heck, you can do it. Moving on to the next question. Sahil, what are your thoughts on the latest news that government is going to ban foreign buyers to buy properties for upcoming 2 years? So Sahil, I was just talking about this same thing just in the beginning of the video, beginning of the live. So again, there are not that many stats to show how many buyers in the market are foreign buyers. So I was trying to dig more, research more, and see how many buyers are there that are actually foreign buyers. So what I could see is like it's less than 2% in overall Canada market. So how much impact would it be? 2% of buyers are gone down. So the demand is going down a little bit, which is a good news. So it definitely would impact. Might not be that much, maybe a little bit difference, because now instead of like 20 offers, maybe we have 5 offers. So again, all this the plan that Canadian government is trying to impose is towards directed towards that, like interest rates to control the inflation and also to control the demand, because the demand is crazy, and with this crazy amount of increases in the prices of home prices in Canada, a lot of first time home buyers could not afford. So they're trying to make it more affordable, so they're trying to bring that demand down. And I think it is showing, like, 2 months ago each property used to have like 20 offers. Now the offers has gone down. Definitely I have seen the numbers, like, the number of showings gone down, the number of offers gone down. So is it impacting on real estate? Yes, definitely. That could help to stabilize the market, because we cannot continue to see this crazy increases in the prices, which is not sustainable for economy, sustainable for normal people like us. So if it's like 2% increase or 5% increase in a year, if it's based on the inflation, if it's going along with the inflation, like if the inflation rate is around 5%, then the appreciation should happen 5%, 6%, 7%. But now it's happening like in Windsor last year alone, just from this year March till comparative to 2021 March, the market appreciation is 35%, which is crazy. So they're trying to bring that down to match it with the inflation rate, which is 6-7%. So which we might see happening. We might see a stable market in coming future. We might see a less craziness, a little bit less number of offers, a little bit less number of showings, and more listings on the market. So yeah. And again, anyone have a different opinions, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear another side of story. What are your opinions? What do you think, Sahal? Let me know in the comments. Moving on to the next question. Can you get a HELOC on rental or only primary? Generally, only on primaries, as far as I know. But one exception I have seen, if so, I have a property. I lived in this property 2 years ago. I bought it as a primary home, and then I turned it into a rental, and now I moved it to my current home. So now on that home, when I bought it, I have bought it with the HELOC. So that home, they still let me continue to have that HELOC. So that's one exception I have seen. Other than that, generally it's for primary home purpose, because they call home equity line of credit. Then say investment equity line of credit. They said home, so it's your home. But again, check with the mortgage agent. That's what my understanding. Unless if it's a different, anyone knows that it's different, let me know in the comments. Moving on to the next question here. Ahmed, Aditya, can I hire a realtor for buying an off-market property, and who should pay him? So great question. Yes, you can definitely hire a realtor for off-market deals as well. And personally, I bought properties that are off-market, but through another realtor, and I paid him. Again, there are scenarios. It depends on. So it depends on how they structure. For example, if your realtor bought you an off-market deal, and they could do like whatever the price that seller is looking to sell it, and plus the commission, so you pay the price, whatever the price plus the commission. So that way you don't have to pay money from your pocket. And there are scenarios where I know, because we help a lot of investors who buy off market deals through us as well. So sometimes the buyer says, oh, you know what, don't worry about the commission, I'll pay you the commission XYZ, whatever the amount. They have that commitment with the realtor directly, and if the realtor is okay with it, because now the realtor is your person who can help you with a lot of things. So yeah, definitely. It depends on how you structure. Most of them, they try to put it on the price itself, so that way you can get the mortgage for the commission side, so you don't have to put from your pocket for the full commission amount. Moving on to the next question. Man, I cannot believe like it's already 7:53. It's all I felt like I just started the live and the time just passed by. So thank you for you guys asking all these questions and very valuable questions. You know, a lot of people can learn from this, and I see a lot of views on these lives on a regular basis. So I'm glad to see. So keep those questions coming in, even if I cannot cover all the questions today. Like I said, I'll be doing lives on a regular basis every Thursday 7 p.m. mostly, unless if something come up on my end. Generally the lives happen at this time, 7 p.m. Thursday Eastern time. So if I could not get a chance to answer your questions today, apologize me, but I'll be doing this again and again. So Rajender, hi Aditya, I'm from Calgary. I'm planning to move to Windsor next year. I want to buy a house there. Why house prices in Windsor is not fixed as Albert? Albert, good question. Rajendra, if I have a straight answer, I would have done. I wish I have a clear answer, but here's my predictions. Here's my thoughts. It's a supply and demand, right? Like it's a demand. Basically, um, the demand for Alberta is less than the demand for Windsor as of now, I believe, because Windsor is actually pretty well connected. It's one of the most busiest interconnected city between US and Canada. The Detroit is coming up quite a lot because with this new automotive industries, most of them are revamping their business because now we all know that everyone is looking at electrical vehicles. So a lot of all these automotive companies are now looking to build electrical vehicles. So for that they need a manpower, they need a IT and different jobs. So that is bringing in more opportunities, and Detroit and Windsor, so that's a solid impact on Windsor economy, because people who live here, they can work in Detroit, they can make a good income there, and they have a healthcare system and everything here in Windsor. And on top of it, the weather is much better here. And on top of it, accessibility to bigger city, and within the Windsor city, everything is pretty accessible. You don't have to stuck in traffic for hours and hours like bigger cities like Toronto. So the population growth is much faster in Windsor compared to Albert, I believe. And the job growth as well, the number of jobs openings in Windsor are higher than Albert. Again, that's my opinion, because when there is a high demand, of course the prices go up quickly. But that being said, I believe still the prices are not that high comparative to Alberta. We have Albert Street here, and I have a property on the Albert Street. That's why I'm going for Alberta. They're not that crazy low comparative to Alberta, because even Alberta has the growth in the prices in last 2-3 years, after that oil price crash in few years ago. So now it's slowly coming up as well. So that's my take there. Anyone have a different opinions? Please let me know in the comments. Moving on to the next question. Canada life. Can new immigrant be allowed to buy a house in Canada without getting a PR with new regulations coming into play? So one thing you might have to look into it is the foreign buyer tax. So you're not banned. Yes, you can still buy, because that's one of the exception in the foreign 2 years ban. That's an exception, that who is in Canada and who has student permit or student visa or work permit, they're exempted. But in Ontario, you might have a foreign buyer tax because you're still not a permanent resident. But I have seen some exemptions there as well, where you will get the rebate after, I believe, 4 years, within 4 years, if you get your permanent residency. But again, check with your lawyer once, just to get 100% clarity in around that area. So you can, as far as I know. Moving on to the next question here. Chandrika, hi Aditya, your new subscriber. Thank you so much for subscribing. First time buyers want to buy in Ontario. Can you please help? Um, I would love to help. We are more than happy to help. But we are located in Windsor, Essex. So me and my team, we are mostly focused on only in Windsor, Essex. So Windsor and surroundings within 20-30 minutes around Windsor. If that's something you're looking for, I'll leave the email and phone number in the comments. So reach out to us. We'll more than happy to. So you can see on the screen, that's the email address and the phone number. reach out to us. If it's around Windsor Essex, we are more than happy to. If it's different city, email us. I'll see if I can find someone that I can refer you to. But personally, unfortunately, we cannot help, because it's we are not experts in those different cities. So moving on to the next question here. Ahmed has a rule of thumb. Uh, every 1% increase in interest rate means 10% decrease in the credibility of the mortgage amount. If mm, I'm not sure on that exact numbers, but if you're saying that's true, then that's fantastic. Glad to know. Definitely, I have to check on that. Maybe, you know what? That's actually a good point. I will bring a mortgage agent probably next week or upcoming week to discuss more on that. How much impact would it be happening? So I don't know exact numbers, but if that's the true, so that means you have the answer. Someone was asking before, how much impact would it be? Is it a good idea to refinance now or later? So that means if you're uh, qualification going down by 10%, that means you have access 10% less money. So yeah, thank you for the point there. But I'll bring an expert on that mortgage side, just who can really clarify many questions around that part. Moving on to the next question. Please share your views on TFFHSA. Also, what's your thoughts about Justin Trudeau's leadership? Will prayer can be reduced Canadian housing prices? So let me unpack here. If you're referring to TFFHSA, tax-free first-time housing saving account, it's a good opportunity for first-time home buyers who can save money. So instead of just putting in your savings account, now you just save in your tax-free savings account. You can take some tax advantages. So that's a good opportunity for first time home buyers. So definitely I like that idea, because there are a lot of people are been kicked out because of this crazy price increases. A lot of people are getting harder and harder to get into the market. Especially, if you're a hardworking family, you have a less salaries and have a less savings, then you can take advantage of this. And then to talk about Justin Trudeau's leadership, honestly, I'm not that much onto politics. I cannot really talk too much on the politics, and that's not my cup of tea. I'm not too much on the politics side, so I would pause on that. But just to talk briefly on how much impact would it be on the housing prices, the new budget that they bring in. um, Personally, I think there will be an impact, because they're trying to increase the inventory, they're trying to reduce the demand. So definitely we might be able to see a demand, we might be able to see an impact where we should see a little bit more stabilized market. Like I was just telling, like now market is going like this. Instead, if it's like this, like just steady slow or even flat for a few years, is a good idea, because a lot of people who are cannot afford, or a lot of people who are buying because they're like fear out of missing, that is not a good thing for Canadian economy. So personally, with what they're proposing, we might be able to see some impact. We might be able to see some stabilized market. So we might be able to find some, you know, motivated sellers and find some good opportunities, because now everyone know, like last until 2 months ago, every seller knows that they can get a good price on the market. So they were like, even though they have some urgency, they still don't sell for less price. They want the highest top dollar. But with the less buyers on the market, with the less demand, that could change. So we might see an impact. That's my opinion. And guys, sorry, I didn't realize it's already 8:02, so it's time for me to hit the gym. Maybe I'll answer one or two more questions here, and then I'll hit the gym, and we'll see on the next live. And also, in the meanwhile, don't hesitate to reach out to us if you need any help in Windsor Essex. We can jump on a one-on call, whether with me or my team. I'm more than happy to help you guys. So Rajendra, in Windsor, which is cheaper, built house or buy already built one? Also, can you please provide builder's website? Can I buy a house in Windsor doing job in Calgary? So loaded question. I'll try to unpack here. Of course, buying a resale home is cheaper, because with the new lot of the construction cost has gone up, the labor cost has gone up, material cost has gone up. So the pre-constructions are definitely high price comparative to resale property. But that being said, in your case, let's say if you're planning to move next year, so maybe pre-construction might work for you, because you might not be able to qualify for a mortgage unless if you have a work from home option, and if you can prove to your lender that you're moving in, so then maybe you might qualify. But generally pre-construction homes, like you can get for in Windsor, I have pulled the data last week. If you're not on the live, I have seen like average home prices, that like majority of the homes sold in Windsor, the prices are between 420 to 700. So almost like 70% of the homes sold in Windsor, or in residential homes in Windsor, are between that price. And under 700, you cannot find a pre-construction. It's very tough, unless if it's a condo in Windsor, Essex. So that means clearly resale homes are much cheaper comparative to new constructions. And to answer like the builder websites, again, Windsor is not as much improved as like bigger cities like GTA, where builders have a solid website. They send you the notifications and all. So instead, like if you're keen on getting those builder side pre-construction projects, then reach out to us. I have the info for my team and myself in the comments, where we can put you in touch with when there is a new project coming in. We will reach out to you, and also we can put you through a mortgage person, help you see if you qualify for a mortgage now while you're in Calgary. So we can do that for you. Just reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to do. So moving on to the last question. I think I just answered this question. Any pre-construction opportunities available around 500? Very, 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 very tough right now, unless there is a one bedroom or a smaller condo. Very tough for a pre-construction under 500K. Yep, moving on to one last question here. Let me just, so, okay. Sindhura, is it possible to refinance after renovating recently bought a home? If so, what modifications are worth doing to increase the value of a home? 1980s property. So fantastic, great question. I love the question. So if you're planning to renovate to increase your property value, so some of the key elements to increase your property value, the first thing is your like some cosmetic updates, like a flooring, because flooring makes a huge impact on look and feel of your property. Painting, light fixtures. These are the three less cheaper cost and adds most of the value. And then next, maybe kitchen updating your kitchen. If you cannot spend a lot of money to update the whole kitchen, maybe paint the cabinets, change the knobs, change the countertop. And same thing with the washroom. Vanity, change the flooring, maybe repaint, put a nice light fixture in the washrooms. So updating the washrooms. So those are the five important pieces that I think would add a lot of value to your property. So with that, guys, thank you so much. If I didn't get a chance to answer your question, please forgive me. I'll definitely move on to the next, in the next live, I'll do my best to answer all the questions. And with that, again, if you need any help in Windsor Essex, anything, even if you want to know what's your property value, if you want to know how much you can refinance it for, any help, don't hesitate to reach out to us. The contact number on the screen, in email address. Again, please forgive me if we don't respond immediately, but we will definitely respond timely. Because one complaint I got, like we are not responding in the weekends, and I'm sorry, we don't work in the weekends on Saturday and Sunday. But once we work with you, once we start working with you, my agents will work for you on Saturdays. But personally, my office is closed in the weekends, but reach out to us during the daytime, but email us anytime. We'll respond during the working hours as soon as possible, and we'll do our best to help you to achieve your financial freedom, to help you to get financial freedom through real estate investing. So with that, thank you so much, guys. See you later in the next live. And until then, check out the other videos, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. Bye-bye.